What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of SpaceX in the News. I'm Kevin, and today we're going to be starting off with quite a bit of exciting Starship intel, actually. Then we'll migrate on over to some pretty positive Crew Dragon updates. We'll talk Starlink, then we'll finish with some pretty fresh SpaceX ventures. So yesterday, SpaceX held another career day in Boca Chica, Texas, in their bid to increase the Starship workforce. And it turned out to be quite the popular event. As you can see, many people showed up to apply for their chance to help make history. Even Elon was there, and in typical Elon fashion, he brought with him a mariachi band. A throwback to the earlier days, or should I say, earliest day of SpaceX. Elon tweeted that this career fair was mainly for staffing up 4 production shifts for 24/7 operations. But engineers, supervisors, and support personnel are certainly needed too. It's been no secret that Starship development has been relentless these past few weeks. Really, ever since the Mark 1 explosion, SpaceX has been grinding out progress down there in South Texas. They bought a ton of Ohio-made Airstream trailers for employee lodging. Yo, Ohio represent. Even Elon himself has been routinely on-site problem solving and directing the workflow. And because of all this, Starship SN1 is well into development. Not only are several, if not all, bulkheads built for the spacecraft, but ring stacking began earlier this week, and doesn't it already look a lot more, capable? And yes, what is being built is SN1, not another prototype for pressure testing. The team down there in Boca has really gotten into their zone. Check this out. The thickness of steel that made up Starhopper's skin, not even a year ago, was 12.5 millimeters. The stacked rings you just saw are 4 millimeters thick, and able to contain more pressure. Oh, and the header tank tests that were performed a couple weeks ago that we never really heard results about went swimmingly. But probably the most exciting news concerning Starship this week is the FCC filing SpaceX sent in for SN1's 20-click flight. That's right, the 20-kilometer flight is still a planned event for Starship and is expected to occur no earlier than March 16th. Will the launch actually happen on March 16th? No, probably not. But did you just see how dedicated SpaceX is at pushing Starship SN1 through the assembly line? Maybe March 17th. Okay. Some more good news for you on the Crew Dragon front. DEMO-2, the first manned mission for SpaceX, looks like it could launch sooner than expected as well. The Crew Dragon capsule, C206, is 3 months ahead of schedule, and with its trunk, could arrive at the Florida Dragon processing facility as early as mid-February, says SpaceX Director of Vehicle Integration, Christopher Caloris. It was also heavily implied that the Falcon 9 rocket assigned to DEMO-2 is already at the Cape. Be this the case, a few weeks of processing, plus an infinite amount of NASA reviews, means this launch could actually happen as early as April. Kevin, you're wrong. It can't be an infinite amount of reviews if it's ever going to happen at all. Derp. In other news, Starlink may very well be going public in the next several years. Gwen Shotwell recently spoke in Miami to a group of investors and said, quote, "Right now we are a private company, but Starlink is the right kind of business that we can go ahead and take public." Probably a wise decision if you want to put, what's the count up to now, 40,000 satellites into orbit, potentially? And by the time they take Starlink public, it will already be a viable and successful endeavor. So sign me up for some stock. What's better than being a SpaceX YouTuber? How about owning an insignificant portion of something that SpaceX started and feeling like the Wolf of Wall Street? If you're from Australia, here's some good news you can look forward to. Your telecommunications regulator has given initial approval for Starlink service. That doesn't mean you should switch providers today, however. It just means your future has been given a chance to own not expensive and not slow internet.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Final Starlink bit before we move on. Despite doing the 4-legged splits, Starlink's latest booster still managed to have its legs retracted and not completely removed. Just so you know. And there is currently 1 Starlink mission scheduled for the month of February. Last year we learned that SpaceX was planning on getting into the smallsat rideshare market, and now things are looking so seriously. To address the needs of small satellite operators that don't necessarily want to pay for an entire rocket, SpaceX has officially opened their rideshare webpage at spacex.com/smallsat. At this site, smallsat companies can choose their desired orbit, no earlier date, and insert the mass of their payload before being given an estimated price, which can be as low as $1 million.
$1 million.
Instead of being lonely, their small sats will have the company of other small sats during their Falcon 9 ride to space. Everyone needs a friend. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. If you're a glutton for punishment and like what you saw, consider hitting that join button below or become an eccentric member on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. If you do, you'll gain access to more space-eccentric content, including our midweek previews, where I go into more depth about SpaceX current events. And to all my eccentric members and patrons who already support the channel, thank you. Y'all have a wonderful weekend, and remember, stay safe, stay warm, and just stay home. Godspeed.